what's going on with Ana Kasparian, bro? Have you guys seen this shit? What is she doing? She's going at it with people. This tweet is crazy. We got to look at this. Ana Kasparian says, California, and especially LA, is controlled by Democrats. They are responsible. No more passing the buck. It's always they, them with these MAGA people. It's like, goddamn, you really don't have an issue with pronouns, do you? Everything is they, them with you motherfuckers. Our mayor, who was in Ghana as fires exploded in our city, cut the fire budget by $17 million. Endless amounts of money funneled to bullshit, scammer, homeless nonprofits. We're the highest tax, yet we have encampments and squalor everywhere. Oh, she's really bummed about that. Even worse, we don't have enough firefighters to respond to the absolute disaster we're experiencing right now. Rather than conserve the record rain we got last year, we just drained it into the ocean. We are a failing city run by a sick excuse for local government. You want to radicalize people against the modern Democratic Party? Send them to LA. Well, I mean, obviously, the vitriol about the Democrats, like, forget all the issues. Let me just break it down for you. And I'm not going to make an excuse because I have an issue with all kinds of people. But here's the deal. Are there problems in the government in California and in LA? Of course. Okay, absolutely. I'm sure there are a myriad of issues, but there's also Texas and Dallas, you know, St. Louis and Missouri, Cincinnati and Cleveland, every big city in every state. Even the small towns, they all have issues. You could go to small towns in West Virginia run by Republican mayors that have crazy homeless issues, drug addiction, crime. There's all kinds of issues. Now, the problem, though, is the vitriol of everything. You know, if something goes wrong, it's the Democratic government. This is anti-Democrat. She obviously hates the Democrats. She obviously hates the mayor who, you know, she's got to say Ghana. See, I'll tell you, I'll be honest, guys. After watching Ana Kasparian and Cenk the last couple days, I'm going to tell you right now with some assuredness, they do not like black people, guys. They don't. They do not like black people. They look at them through a lens that is, you know, like you've probably seen some people on Twitter that are saying Ana and Cenk treated it like there could only be one black anchor in TYT. And I'm telling you, dude, that's what it is, bro. That's what it is. There is some type of racial thing going on. What's crazy about this, though, is how she is like holding the Democratic Party responsible. Now, she absolutely, there's something to be said about the money they spent on homelessness and they haven't yet seen a return. There would be nothing wrong with auditing and looking into that. I get that, but there's other things, though, of like the LAPD. You really want to talk LA? We could talk about the homelessness money, but let's talk about fucking LAPD. Let's talk about LAPD, which is draining money, ever increasing amounts of money with most of the time not even good return on the funds, but it's just a vacuum cleaner of money and a power source and a constant thing that they're fighting. But this, though, when you look at this is slanted, man. I mean, this is slanted. There's just a couple tells here. There's a couple tells. Let's look at Ana's tells, shall we? Because one is she's California and LA, okay? She's obviously attacking the Democrats. We know this is a shot at Gavin Newsom. We know it's a shot at Karen Bass. Now, the other option for mayor in LA was Rick Caruso, dude, a billionaire land developer. Why the would anybody want to make a billionaire land developer the mayor of your fucking city? How do you think that's going to benefit anybody in the city? Like, are you fucking kidding me? And for Ana and Cenk, you can tell they voted for Caruso. You can tell they voted for the man. They're supposedly progressives, but they weren't going to vote for the black woman, were they? They don't like black people, I don't think. Dude, I don't think they fucking like black people. But then she talks about the mayor, but she specifically talks about Ghana, which is, of course, it's a black country. Like the coding about Ghana, because here's the deal. The mayor didn't know the fires were going to break out. And when the fire broke out, the mayor came back. She didn't stay in Ghana. Like, dude, nobody expected fire season to be in January. Are you shitting me? Like, I lived in LA for 20 years, bro, and nobody expected a fire in January. They talk about the reservoir that was offline. Well, of course, if you're gonna fix a reservoir, January's the time to fix it, because nobody's expecting a big fire and 100-mile-an-hour winds in January, except maybe, climate change means this shit's gonna start happening at weirder and weirder times, right? But then she went with the cut the fire budget by 17 million. But that's pretty weird too, because I've seen a lot of conflicting information about the fire budget being increased in some places and overtime reductions and cuts in others. But here's the problem I have, okay, with Ana talking about 17 million. First off, $17 million wasn't going to change the outcome of this. I'm not defending cuts or whatever, but also the 17 million, if they did cut it, we know where it went, guys. We know it went to the LAPD. And why? Because Ana Kasparian's been crying about fucking crime for 2 years, right? And seeing the homeless 𝗍𝗍, right? So Ana gets her wish of them dumping more money into LAPD, and then the minute a fire breaks out, now Ana's like, oh my God, you took some money away from the fire department. And to me, that's bullshit, because the real money suckage in LA has always been LAPD, man. It's just fucking vacuums billions. Like, what is the LAPD budget, dude? So the police get 1.88 billion. So the police get almost 20% of the budget, dude. Almost $2 billion. 16% of the entire budget goes to fucking policing. And I guarantee you those resources are not well used. There's probably a ton of overtime. There's brand new vehicles. There's brand new rocket launchers and shit. But again, let's go into Ana's thing here. All right, then she says endless amounts of money funneled to bullshit, scammer, homeless nonprofits. Now, the thing about this is we could look into this. It's possible that there is some significant waste in how they're trying to fight homeless. And we can look at that. But the fact that she's bringing that in during the middle of the fire, as opposed to what can we do to get involved? You know what I'm saying? Like this whole idea, like, all right, if there's waste, like, let's look at waste. Let's look at the policing waste. These are the same people, though, that let's go back to 2020, right? Remember this? They've been all angry about the fucking cops. In 2020, they were all defund the police. And by 2022, they're like, defund the police have ruined the progressive movement. And now we need heavy policing and they're not fighting enough crime. And then in 2024, the motherfuckers are like, now they're cutting the fire budget because a fire broke out. But like, dude, we just refunded all your fucking policing needs that you were complaining about. She's like, we don't have enough firefighters, which there's a myriad of problems with that. There wouldn't be enough firefighters in any way to fight this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, are there enough firefighters on the planet to fight this, bro? Like, let's be honest. With the wall of flames and that kind of wind, you could have 10,000 firefighters, bro. And you're just going to have 10,000 people watching the fire. Fucking rage through canyons. You know what I mean? Like, all right, good. You got 10,000. Like, this is an epic disaster. And that's not to absolve, because I am certain that if you go to LA, you go to any major city in America, and there's going to be numerous mistakes made in budgeting and with resources. Like, there's no perfect way to figure this out. And then she says, rather than conserve the record rain, we drained it into the ocean. Then they're a failing city, which is now she's echoing Donald Trump's failing nation. And then she's saying, oh, yeah, you want to radicalize people against the Democratic Party. So now she's blaming the Democratic Party for her. But here's the thing, though. Here's why I don't buy this. Because, let me just tell you, Ana Kasparian and Cenk 𝗡𝗎𝗪, you fucking frauds, this is bullshit because you don't get radicalized out of your party. Why? Because the Republicans, what do they have? Nationally, have they had a health care plan? No. Have they had a plan to deal with immigration? No. And when they did, they killed it to win an election because they're transactional and they only want power, but they don't actually do it. Okay? Do they have a plan for the wealth gap or housing? No, none. What do they have? They have a plan of deporting and concentration camps, which is more imprisonment and will actually exacerbate other problems we have, food to table and construction and all this other shit. But they don't even have good plans. At least the Democrats have plans other than tax cuts, and they execute those plans, and then maybe they win and maybe they fail, but they're trying something. They want to try something about guns. They want to try shit about water and the environment and climate change. But Republicans don't do shit except say Democrats bad, gay bad, trans bad, immigration bad, and then they wag their fingers and cry about everything you're doing isn't working to our satisfaction, but we don't have any fucking plans. And all we do is sit there with these weird racial overtones, like mentioning Ghana and pitting black people against each other on Twitter and having your fucking network only have room for one black host. And like, that's bullshit. You don't get radicalized out of the Democratic Party. I believe you guys were never really Democrats. I don't know, Ana, but Cenk was a Republican. He got mad at George Bush. He decided to become a progressive because then he could attack both parties. But like, come on, man. This is some bullshit. This woman ain't a progressive leader anymore. She doesn't know what the she is, bro. Seriously. Because at the end of the day, dude, the Democrats are trying stuff. And if they fail, okay, they fail. We try some more shit. But for Republicans, I don't even see any plans. The only plans I see from Republicans is they want to cut taxes for the wealthy. They want to get rid of regulations and just chew up the fucking environment so the billionaire resource companies can just extract everything out of our precious planet that is clearly crying out for help. These fires, that pandemic, the freezing in Texas, the hurricanes, they're a cry for help. Ana Kasparian, Cenk 𝗡𝗎𝗪, that's the fucking planet crying for help. And having Elon Musk and Zuck loot all the water so he can build some data centers or poison the fucking marshes, that shit ain't gonna help. Offshore drilling ain't gonna fucking help. 10 times fracking ain't gonna fucking help. The planet is sending you a message. And you are blaming the politicians that are trying to fucking clean up this mess. And that's real problematic for me. It is, because I don't see Republicans doing shit except, like I said, they're giving away tax money to the wealthy. They're gutting the regulations so the planet can get reaped. Okay, what else are they doing? Oh, they want to make it harder to vote in any possible way. Now they're talking about making it so reservation IDs are no good. They want to disenfranchise Native Americans. They want to disenfranchise black people. They want to disenfranchise Hispanic people. And then they want to eradicate trans people or gay people and stuff a Bible up our fucking ass, you know? But this is just straight up resentment. And dude, she's been going to town. And look at this shit, though. They're pulling out her old tweets. I wonder, is that actually accurate? There it is. Oh, dude. No, she didn't delete it. It's right here. This is the one we were just looking for, bro. Look at that, though. 2020. Oh, it's funny how times fucking change, isn't it? I have to say, Bass already seems to be taking serious initiative, and I'm extremely happy and relieved to see it. Addressing housing is critical. I want to see more about how she plans to provide services for those struggling with addiction and mental health issues too. And then look at that. I hope she keeps going. She's already on a great path. Having views change over time is natural. But what's crazy about this, though, is this woman and her business partner, Cenk, are the leaders of a political ecosphere. So the thing about it is, can they change? Sure. But they need to be honest and open and real reflective about their change, because they have a responsibility to the millions of dollars they have generated by feeding one aspect of the political climate. You don't go from defund the police, there's no reform, we need to rebuild policing. You don't go from this to them Democrats, we need to crack down. You don't make that jump unless this was bullshit. I identify with this, but like the idea of reforming the policing in America, it's about a fundamental acceptance of the racial tensions and the origins of policing in America from slave patrols. The defund the police movement is about a way of looking at crime, about being more than just requiring punishment. It's about an entire worldview. Either you believe in the worldview or you were just saying you believed in the worldview because it was financial. Now, the problem with Ana and Cenk is they're starting to develop this openness and this reciprocity that they want to have with the other side. And they're starting to generate some measure of elitist behavior where they're trying to say we're better than the people that we've been taking money from, while Cenk here was backing something that's labeled very extreme. And now he's trying to say, oh, all these extremists on the left are ruining our party. But it's like, dude, we have the receipts that you were fueling these extremists. You were the one out there, the head of the media of that group, and you were feeding and fueling that. So if your far left is really extreme, you help create that extremeness. Now, why did you help create that extremeness if later on, when a few things didn't work out, and maybe you have to go back to the drawing board with some new ideas, it's like, did you fundamentally never believe in the idea of reforming policing? Because that's what this is about. It's not even about the funding. It's about the fact that policing came from slave patrols, and therefore it's never going to be right. Policing in America will always be wrong until we abolish the slave patrol aspect of it and start building it in a new way, no matter how we fund it. But we do have to sever that tie or acknowledge the roots. I mean, the fact that, the FBI has been tracking white supremacists going into policing. Of course they're going into policing because policing extended from slave patrols. And so the thing about this is Cenk and Ana, they have a responsibility to their political audience to at least be straight about it, because politics is very serious. That's one of the problems we have with the Republican Party, is that politics is super, super serious. The Republican Party will attach themselves to a cause simply to gain power. And yeah, you can't really flip-flop like that. I mean, you can. Kyrsten Sinema did it. John Fetterman is doing it right now. But the fact, though, that Ana and Cenk are now having this realization at the same time that they think maybe the political climate is changing. And, what's more, though, with Ana and Cenk, part of the reason I didn't like them is they've always been kind of anti-Democrat in a way that I didn't like. I felt like they were opportunists back when Bernie Sanders was around, right? To be honest, they were hypercritical of the Democratic Party, and then Bernie Sanders gave them an outsider to support that allowed them to just stick it to the Democratic Party. I have felt like they have always had an even bigger issue with the Democratic Party than they've had with the Republicans. And I am telling you right now, after seeing them argue with Pastor Ben and with Mondale, I think it's because of race, man. I think this is why Cenk could not say the shit about racism on Marc Lamont Hill. I think they both struggle with some racism that they don't want to acknowledge. I'm not going to say that, oh, they're racist, but they're both, I think they're struggling with some racism. I think they are. I mean, we all do. We all do. And that's the whole point of anti-racism work, is to try and get involved with the things you struggle with, whether you're struggling with racism or sexism or Islamophobia or, you know, Christian issues. I mean, my God, dude, you know me, I go on a deep thing about Christianity and shit. So my relationship to religions, I have to look at that all the time. I have to look at my own biases. We have to do that work. And if you're in politics, you especially have to do that work. And if you're the leader of a movement, my God, you have to be like exceptionally doing that work. It's your job. Okay, it's their job to not be fully defund the police and then 2 years later be parroting Donald Trump. It's their job to not be like that, because they were very extreme on a side. When all the people of color and all the LGBTQ people start leaving your organization or leaving your fold, that is a sign that leadership is like something's going bad at the top. If you have people that believe in diversity and people that respect all their different types of people, you're not going to have the people of color and the LGBTQ people start fleeing the company. That's a huge sign. And now what I have seen personally with my own eyes is I have seen Cenk and Ana provide cover for racists to want to somehow shift away even the anti-racism work, the simple anti-racism work of calling out racial dog whistling and calling out using race as a divisive force. They don't even want to call it out anymore. They're like, yeah, we should like stop calling it out. And because maybe we can make some economic deals with these people. And like, dude, that's not the minimum of anti-racism work. And they've simultaneously been, you know, broadcasting very loud signs of saying we should stop fighting some of these LGBTQ issues because they're preventing us from getting our economic populist ideas forward. And yes, that's a huge problem, because it's the fact that these progressive people, the people that lived and died for this type of foundational change in America, they built their fucking studio. Okay, the defund the police movement and the build houses for the homeless and let's be progressive about the criminal justice system and be progressive about human rights. They built their fucking studio. And then after those people built their studio, they sold the naming rights to an offshore crypto gambling company run by some of the most toxic right-wing motherfuckers on the planet. And that is shitty, bro. If you were dating a woman who had been in an abusive relationship and that woman comes in and puts you through college and builds your business, and then you sell the naming rights of the business to the spouse who beat her, like, bro, you should have a bat taken to your fucking skull. That's a 5 Luigi's move. There's no way about that. There's no way around that shit. That is 5 Luigi's, bro. That is 5 Luigi's right there. That's shitty. And while Polymarket is betting on the fires, TYT is owned by Polymarket, a betting company profiting off disaster, and has bets open on the LA fires. This is what happens when progressive media sells out to capitalist interests. Betting on disasters fuels dystopian capitalizing on tragedy for profit. Isn't that crazy? They're attached to this shit, bro. Not cool, guys. And then simultaneously, we have Ana in here doing this fight. She's going to attack Gavin Newsom. She's attacking Democrats. And then she was going after Ben here. Poor Ben got super salty that TYT gave Rashad a host over his boring ass. So much so that he's now defending the misuse, blah, 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 covering for thieves and this, that, and the other, and calling him a bigot. But now here's the problem, though. If you're running a network, I think it's pretty bad to be having these battles on Twitter. I've seen Ana have these kinds of public battles with Democrats, but I don't really see her have these public battles with Republicans. Her and Cenk with Republicans are like, let's not call them a racist. But then with her, if a black employee leaves, she called him a fucking bigot. She called the black man a bigot. Right? Remember Cenk saying, let's not use the racist term, but she's out here calling the black man a bigot. Like, holy shit, bro. And yes, this is extremely unprofessional. And the fact of the matter that she's like calling him out when like, dude, TYT did union bust. They sold progressive money to Polymarket Studios, Polymarket crypto gambling. Like, bro, what are we even talking about? The leader should be setting the tone. And I get it. She's mad because he called her Ana asparagus, but he's calling her out. And then she's like, I don't know, dude. This is like super unprofessional. And she's fighting with Mondale too. And she's attacking More Perfect Union. Like she's even using Trump's language. I want to run the scum out of this state. Dude, that's a Trump reference. Governor Newsom. She's parroting Trump's language, man. She is parroting Trump's language here. And dude, that's not an accident. Like, come on, guys. Okay, Ana, you can talk all the shit you want, but the thing is Ana, you're a fucking clown because you're being disingenuous here. You're selling the naming rights to Polymarket. You're parroting Trump when you talk about this shit. You are sucking on the MAGA tit right here, Ana. And you're pretending like you're not. And that's fucking bullshit. She's attacking in that Trumpian way. And it's very obvious what she's doing here.